The scariest horror games of all time. Horror games are some of the most unique games you can play right now, but finding a horrifyingly fun and modern horror game in the year 2021 can be a difficult task. Even more so, finding a horror game that provides shock and terror to the player experiencing the game for the first time is even more demanding. That's why we wanted to take a look at some of the best horror games ever made so that you can play as we approach Halloween. This is GameLux, and in this video we'll be going through the 5 scariest horror games of all time. Before we continue, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and hit the bell icon to receive notifications for when we go live. Now, let's begin. 5. Slender Man. Now this is a classic. Slender Man is one of the most iconic and instantly recognizable horror games out there. Some credit Slender Man for popularizing the horror game genre in the early YouTube era. In fact, the game is responsible for blowing up most channels we watch today. Slender Man is a free-to-play game released all the way back in June of 2012, but it can still be incredibly fun and, most importantly, terrifying. Your purpose in this game is to collect 8 pieces of paper that are taped to various trees and buildings. The player spawns in a dark forest with numerous landmarks and locations of interest scattered around the map. The forest is haunted by Slender Man, who can appear out of nowhere at any time, but tends to happen more frequently as you collect more pages. If you see Slender Man approaching, all you gotta do is run in the opposite direction or turn off your light. While Slender Man does rely heavily on jump scares, the game also has an incredible atmosphere surrounding it that only amplifies the horror aspect of it. 4. Dead Space. Dead Space is one of the pioneers of the horror game genre. The survival horror game came out back in 2008, and in it, you play as a man named Isaac Clarke, an engineer on board a mining spaceship. However, things aren't going great for the spaceship as it becomes overrun by monsters that are known as necromorphs. These monsters have killed and infected the entire crew of the ship, and their goal is to get everyone, including you. Overall, Dead Space is considered one of the best horror games ever made, and one of the best video games ever made, regardless of genre. While the game came out in 2008 initially, in 2022 it's getting its own next-gen remake, and we cannot wait to get our hands on it. 3. Silent Hill 2. As influential as Dead Space was, its influence can't even come close to that of the Silent Hill franchise. The greatest game in the entire Silent Hill franchise is none other than Silent Hill 2. This game was incredibly ahead of its time when it was initially released in the year 2000. You're forced to make a lot of difficult decisions in Silent Hill 2. Usually, you either have to run away from your opponent or challenge them head-on. Unlike most horror games, there aren't any zombies or monsters around. All your opponents are human beings. The game was remastered in HD for the Xbox 360 and the PS3 back in 2008, and that remaster still manages to hold up till this day, which we suggest you play to experience all the jump scares and intense scenes in high definition. 2. Amnesia: The Dark Descent. If you're one of those people that can hardly be fazed by horror video games, Amnesia: The Dark Descent is the one game that can even keep grown men awake at night. Amnesia is a survival horror game where your task is to explore a castle. Sounds simple, right? The player ends up running into a few problems, such as monsters chasing after you from all directions. What makes the game great is that it sometimes forces you to put yourself in situations that'll definitely get your heart racing. Much like Slender Man, Amnesia is a classic video game now, and is sometimes credited for popularizing many horror video game YouTubers such as PewDiePie. It was developed by an independent gaming company from Sweden called Frictional Games, and right now you can buy it on PC or any gaming console out there. This is one we recommend you play with the lights off for the best experience. Number 1. Outlast. If you're still not scared by Amnesia, you're probably unfazed by anything. But if there was one video game that manages to scare even those who couldn't be scared by Amnesia, it's Outlast. Released back in 2013, Outlast is a very popular horror game, and for good reason. The main character in Outlast is a journalist called Miles who finds his way inside a strange psychiatric hospital after reports of some truly horrible events happening inside of it. Once he actually gets to the hospital, he finds out there's nothing but enemies and monsters that are looking to kill him in almost every single direction. The fact that this game isn't a first-person perspective only adds to the immersion aspect of it, as it has one of the most immersive gameplay experiences out of any video game out there. It's certainly not for the faint of heart, and if there is one game that deserves the title of the scariest video game of all time, it's definitely Outlast. That's a wrap for the 5 scariest horror games of all time. Which of these are you dying to play? Let us know in the comments below. As always, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one!